Welcome to the Cycle Starters podcast. I'm your host, Heather Rebecca Wilson, and today I am so thrilled to be joined by Rosa Kelly, a sex and intimacy coach, couples therapist, and founder of Aliveness Amsterdam. Rosa is a remarkable guide who helps women and couples in long-term relationships reconnect with their desire, deepen their intimacy, and feel more alive, both in and out of the bedroom. With over 15 years of experience in Qi Gong, she brings together ancient energy practices and modern therapeutic tools in a way that's both grounded and full of heart. In today's episode, we'll explore Rosa's journey into sexual vitality work, dive into her approach to Qigong as a pathway to reconnect with our life force energy, and discover how these practices can help us feel more rooted, radiant, and alive in our everyday lives. Rosa has led an incredible workshop called Awaken Your Sexual Vitality as part of our community offerings, where she guided participants through a sensual body-based practice to tap into their inner spark and creative energy. So whether you're feeling disconnected from your desire, curious about the relationship between sexual energy and overall vitality, or simply wanting to feel more embodied and alive, that workshop is going to be amazing for you, and you're going to love this conversation. So before we begin our dialogue, I have a quick favor to ask. If you are enjoying the Cycle Starters podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends who might benefit from this content. Your support really helps our channel reach more viewers through the algorithm, allowing us to expand and elevate the collective consciousness around ancestral healing. So, Rosa, thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited to be spending time with you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Good. I feel grounded. I actually did some practice to really invoke my ancestors here. I'm wearing my grandmother's ring
Nice.
that I got from her actually when she was still alive, which I think is a great way to gift, So she gave it before she died. She said, "I'm still alive. I want you to have this." So I'm wearing it. It really means a lot.
I love that. That's beautiful. Well, speaking of ancestors, I think we should just jump right in. So, what can you share with us about your ancestral background?
I am mixed race. My mom is from Suriname, which is not known to a lot of people. It's a tiny country north of Brazil, and it used to be a Dutch colony. So basically, the Dutch used to bring the people from Africa there. So my mom is black, and my father is white from the Netherlands. So interestingly enough, I grew up in a pretty white environment. I went to very white schools and I never felt very different. I knew I was different, but really remember when I was maybe 14 or something, really quite late, where I for the first time saw that I had a different color. But before I genuinely was completely not busy with it, yeah, I think my color was not a thing. And then when I had cancer 10 years ago, all of a sudden, interestingly, with all my hair falling out, and I started to look very much like my grandmother, who
Mm,
is black. And people noticed it. Like my family, they were all like, "What the hell?"
mhm.
And in a way, I think I connected more with that part of me. And then I did a few years later, I did somatic experiencing training. And in that training, I realized that in me, it was like there was this glass wall of the white side of me and the black side of me that was completely not integrated. Yeah, so I did a lot of work there on that. Like obviously, there's a slavery past in there, slave trader past there. There's all that. So I did a
Mhm.
lot of work around that, and basically, really returning to wholeness as a person that is mixed, and to find spaces for all of that in me.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. We have this mixed race ancestral background in common, and I always love to connect with other mixed sisters to hear their stories because there's not one multiracial experience. Everybody's experience is different. And so I just love spotlighting other practitioners who have this kind of background. All right. Well, so you said you've done a lot of work around this, and I want to find out more in the sense of when did the concept of ancestral healing really enter your consciousness? And it sounds like it may have really entered around the cancer diagnosis. But I'm curious, yeah, when did you realize it was a thing, right? This is a thing that exists and things can be passed down through the generations. But also, when did you realize I have the power to change these patterns and start new cycles?
Well, I think there was a little bit of awareness before the cancer because I did
Hmm.
some family constellation. And obviously, in family constellation, there's the awareness that we carry stuff from our ancestors. And then I had the cancer, and my cancer was actually in my bone, which is very related to ancestors. So that was a big one. So I think not so conscious, but I did feel that there was something I had to do.
Hmm.
And even I had quite some operations for the first time in my life in the operation theater. I felt very much the presence of my ancestors there. And I
Wow.
never had any psychic abilities or anything, but I was like, what is happening? So I felt very much that there was a big change around that time. And then when I chose my somatic experiencing training, I chose to do it in a BIPOC cohort, the first one somatic experiencing did. And that was mind blowing for me because the interesting thing was that when I wanted to enter, I said to my husband, can I even enter there? Because I'm mixed race. And he was like, well, it's basically for people of color and you are one of them. And I was like, yeah, I guess I am. But it really instilled in me that like that I was entitled to be there, that I belong there as well. It was really important for me. It was really important in my journey.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I do feel like the belonging piece is a common thread in that multiracial experience. So important, and I can certainly relate, and I definitely felt like I did not belong to the Black side of my family or the Filipino side or really to the white side, my white friends at school. So, yes, I've been on my own journey with that. And I know so many people can relate to what you just shared, right? Like, do I have the right to be in this space?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Am I dark enough? Which
Right.
is crazy. But
Yeah.
I really felt that way. But also because it was quite a disowned part.
Hmm.
And in that, because that cohort was very much focused on a lot of transgenerational trauma, on really working with the ancestors. Every time we really called in the ancestors, we thanked the land. It was all very new for me, but it was really, really life changing, really beautiful.
That is awesome. Yeah, identity is a tricky thing just on its own, but then multiracial identity is even more complex. And what I've learned along my own journey, but also in my diversity leadership training, is that identity is multifaceted. It's how you see yourself, but it's also your social identity, how other people see you. And then the
Yeah.
third piece is how you make sense of those two things, right? Like how you identify and how other people see you. Like, how do you make sense of that? So, yeah, this is super interesting. All right. Well, so tell me what patterns do you feel like you're breaking in your lineages?
Well, I'm definitely breaking a pattern of having cancer.
Yeah.
My grandmother had cancer 3 times, and they were all 3 different primary cancers. So I feel very much that maybe even not just cancer. My grandmother had cancer, but my mom has been chronically ill for her whole life. And I feel I'm
Mm.
breaking that pattern of I don't want to be mean towards my mom. This is her life and her path and her lot in life. But I felt very much that this is not what I want to be. I don't want to be a sick person. So have been sick, but I really feel that I really have cleared it out of my field by doing a lot of work around it.
Well, so tell me about your journey to becoming a sex and intimacy coach, a Qigong practitioner. What was that like for you?
About 15 years ago, just after I gave birth to my daughter, which was horrible and very traumatic,
Yes.
after about 6 months, I decided to go on this retreat, which was completely random. I had never meditated. I had never done anything spiritual. And there was this really horrible website saying this Qigong retreat in Ibiza. And I said to my husband, I think I'm going to go there. And he was like, you're going to leave your baby and you're going to go to something that you don't even know what it is. And I was like, yep. So I just went and it was so funny because in the plane already, I happened to sit next to two other ladies that were going to the same retreat. And
Okay.
they were like angels. They were so special. And so basically I started to do Qigong there, and I felt my whole body was buzzing. And actually also I felt very much connected to my sexual energy. And I thought it was really normal. I felt really orgasmic, and I was like, I get it why people are doing this. I thought everybody had this, but that's not the case. But for
Hmm.
me, it feels really, really orgasmic, and it felt really strong. So I just knew this is not gonna leave my life. I really needed time to get there, because from there I did it, and then obviously I kept doing it for a bit, but then I forgot about it. Then a few years later, I started to do a teacher's training, a Qigong teacher's training, and in that time I got cancer. So while I was having chemotherapy for 9 months, I did Qigong every day, even the days that I couldn't move. I just did it in my mind, and I just kept moving Qi, and I really connected very much to my aliveness. And I think it really confirmed for me that this is working, this is working, because it has nothing to do with whether or not my body is falling apart or how shitty I feel on a day. It's just I feel very alive to something that's much more mine than all the outer circumstances. So I think that made me realize that I have to be a bit more serious about this Qigong thing.
Hmm.
So I was a corporate tax lawyer at the time. So I had a completely
Gosh.
different, yes, different career. But it was just, my cancer was one of those Kali moments,
Hmm.
just, okay, let's ruin everything and build from there. And I did. I first did a normal coaching course, then I did Leila's course, then I did somatic experiencing, and I'm doing a beautiful shamanic Chinese medicine, 3-year course now with one of Minke de Vos' teachers.
Wow.
And it's so magical, like so magical. So I'm loving it. It's great.
That is amazing. All right. Well, so we met through Layla's community. So I did the Vita training before it was called that in 2017. When did you graduate, or when did you complete that work with Layla?
I think I'm the 21 cohort.
Okay.
So it was
Nice.
already Vita then. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I'm so glad we connected because I love your work. I love your energy. And I feel like this is actually a great segue into your workshop that you led for us a couple of weeks ago. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with my work, I'm an Ancestral healing guide, an inclusive culture catalyst, an embodied empowerment coach. I'm obsessed with astrology, but not as the rule, but as a tool for understanding and empowering yourself as an energetic being, and especially on an ancestral healing journey. And so a few years ago, I decided to create a membership, and it's called the Ancestral Healing Collective. And it is a sacred space for female bodied cycle breakers and cycle starters to alchemize ancestral wounds into creative potential, shifts to higher consciousness, spiritual gifts, and embodied joy with not only astrology, but pleasure as transformative medicine. And thank you, Layla and the Vita work, for really giving me that, because I do feel like pleasure is the fuel that sustains you along an ancestral healing journey, because you're really healing a lot of trauma on that journey, and you can get bogged down by it. It can be really, really heavy. And so I feel like the pleasure allows you to balance it and helps you get through it. And I mean, we could do a whole episode on pleasure, honestly, right? Pleasure for healing, pleasure as your power, all that stuff. But back to the membership, for $55 a month, people can join and they get access to a new moon pleasure practice that's live that I lead. And the jade egg or the crystal egg is always optional. And we have a dance party. And recently I've been adding a sound bath to that experience. So it's only live. I don't record that, but I do have a guest expert come in every month and lead a workshop. And I'm so grateful that Rosa agreed to be our guest teacher last month. So her amazing workshop was called Awaken Your Sexual Vitality. So for those folks who are interested in experiencing this, how would you explain to them what to expect and also how to best prepare so that they could get the most out of it.
How best prepare is just come with the intention to follow your chi. It's your life force energy. We all have it. Some feel it more than others. That's okay. It's something I love that about chi. Chi follows intention. So whenever we say, I'm going to follow I'm going to let my chi flow from my arm to my pinky, it's happening. So I think there's something so liberating about that. So if people are curious how they can feel more alive, how they can heal, because it's very much a healing modality, and healing as in return to your innate wholeness and your innate aliveness and your innate balance. That's all there. We all have that. Then Qigong is really for you. And in the workshop that we did, I did some extra attention on the kidneys because the kidneys are very important in both ancestral healing and in sexuality from a Taoist perspective. So yeah, if you're curious to do that, you don't have to have any fitness level or, it's very low key, it's very slow, it's very conscious. If nothing else, I think it's a beautiful grounding way to be with your body and to be with your breath, to just enjoy spending time with yourself.
It was amazing. And you're such a great teacher. You're such a great guide. This workshop is living in the Ancestral Healing Collective resource library. And I just counted the other day, there are over 25 workshops in this library. So, as a member of the collective, you get access to all of those workshops. So, if you are so inclined, you can watch Rosa's workshop every day if you wanted to, if you wanted to do that
Yeah, for
Qigong
sure.
routine. I
Yeah,
mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I want to do this every day. I feel so good. I feel so grounded. I feel so connected to the cosmos and nature. It was absolutely beautiful. And yeah, thank you so much. So,
thank you.
yeah, of course. My goodness. And I hope you'll teach again. I really want to keep collaborating because I just
I
thought it
would
was
love to.
a
Love, love, love to.
beautiful experience. So if you're interested in experiencing Rosa's workshop, go to heatherrebeccawilson.com/sanctuary and you'll see that I have two community options. So the free community is the Cycle Starter Sanctuary. And so we have our own membership space. I post content in there pretty much every week that's just for the members. And also as part of the free membership, everybody gets 10% off all of my offerings. The Ancestral Healing Collective is the paid membership. So that's $55 a month. So just make sure if you want access to all of the workshops that you join the paid membership. And we have our own community space. And then those folks get 20% off all of my offerings. It's just the joy of my life creating this event series and bringing cycle breakers and cycle starters together, and also spotlighting and platforming all of these amazing practitioners. And obviously, this podcast is part of that. I just love talking to folks about their ancestral healing journeys and how they came to create this offering, right? How you came to your medicine. It's super fascinating. So yes, so if you're interested, go to heatherrebeccawilson.com/sanctuary and you will see both of those community options. All right. So Rosa, I told you we are going to talk some astrology in this
Yay.
conversation.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm so excited. Like I said, astrology is not the rule, but it is an amazing tool. It's a framework and a language for empowering yourself as an energetic being, especially on an ancestral healing journey, because you can see your chart and see your ancestral wounds, your gifts. You can see it all in the chart. So I was curious, do you mind sharing your sun, moon, and rising signs with our community?
No, not at all. My sun is Aquarius. My moon is Leo. And my rising is Libra.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So Sun is Aquarius, that's fixed air. And then Leo moon, fixed fire. And then Libra rising, that's cardinal air. Okay. All right. So you have a lot of air in your big three. So we all know this, that you're very smart, very intelligent, because air is the element that represents the mind. It's our thoughts, our communication, our consciousness, how we learn, how we process information. So, I mean, just immediately, I want to go to this Leo moon because I'm so fascinated. So, the moon in tropical Western astrology, and I'm actually studying galactic astrology now, which I told you, and I'm loving this. But the moon represents your emotions, your emotional core, and your emotional inheritance. So, it's the gifts that your ancestors have given you, but also the wounds that they've passed along. And so I mentioned that Leo is fixed fire. So fixed just means that it's the most stable expression of fire. So each of the signs has its own element, but it also has its own modality. It's either cardinal, fixed, or mutable. So fire is our passions, it's inspiration, it's that creative spark. And so Leo is interesting. I associate the sign of Leo with the archetypal energy of the devoted performer. Okay. So, in terms of your emotions, there could be this tendency to present like you have it all together because people really depend on you to be the hostess with the mostest, right? You have a lot of charisma, you have a beautiful personality, everybody loves being in your energy. But what can happen sometimes is that folks with a Leo moon, they will be literally falling apart because we all go through our stuff and then they won't tell anybody because they don't want to burden other people, right? Everybody expects me to be the bright shining light in every situation and I don't want to let people down. So there's kind of a performance aspect, performing, I've got it all together. So can you relate to this at all? And tell me, how do you take care of your emotional life with this Leo moon?
Take care of it by doing Qigong every day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, really. I do Qigong every day. I meditate. I work out. I need a lot of literally moving stuff because otherwise, if I get stuck even a little bit, if I don't move for 2, 3 days, my husband is like, "Can you please go to the gym? Can you please run?" Because he knows stuff needs to move, and I get really grumpy. I start to doubt myself. I can feel very overburdened. Yeah, it's funny as well that you say that I know that Leo is the performer. And in a way, it's so true. And there's also a lot of shyness around me, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So it's really both.
It absolutely is both. Actually, thank you for mentioning that. So, what I've found in studying astrology, but also working with clients, is that the Leo growth journey can be coming into right relationship with attention and praise. And there's a spectrum, right? Because on the one hand, there are people who are addicted to the spotlight. Like they need it, right? They need the external validation to feel good about themselves. And then the other side is you are completely averse to being in the spotlight. You cannot take a compliment. You don't want any attention on you. There's that shyness that you just mentioned. So tell me more about that. Like, what has that dance been like for you?
Yeah, it's more like for me at the moment, I'm very much like, in a way, I know, like, for example, about my Taoist path, I know that I have so much to share about this, and I'm so enthusiastic. And whenever people hear me, like, literally, I was at a funeral a while ago and I said something about work and they signed up as a client. Like, whenever people hear me, they're like, "Oh, I want a bit of that." So there's that. It's very natural. But when you put me on the spot, if I would know now that there was 100 people listening, I would feel my throat is
Yeah.
tight. If I'm natural and I just let things flow, I'm okay. But to be put on the spot is terrible. It's terrible because it's frightening.
Right. Well, I have a feeling that that's probably in your lineage too, because the moon does represent some ancestral wounds. So you have this ability to hold the space, right? And hold the attention and be in the spotlight. But also, there's perhaps some ancestral trauma or wounding around being in the spotlight and having the attention on you because something bad may have happened potentially.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I feel like that Leo journey is about finding the right stage for you to shine. And it's a very specific stage for each person. And so there's just kind of a journey to finding that.
And what I also find interesting is that Leo is fire because in the Chinese astrology, I'm a fire dragon. So there's also fire in there. Yeah.
Well, I love it. Well, you're full of life force energy. You're always smiling. I love your energy. It totally makes sense. I want to move on to the other two signs in your big three. So your Aquarius sun. So this is fixed air. This is the energy of the visionary. This is somebody who's very much focused on the future and also, wants to stand out and be an individual, but also is very concerned with humanity. Aquarius is a humanitarian. So the sun is where you shine and it's how you see yourself. It's your creative energy. Your rising sign, in contrast, is how you really are behaviorally. So when people first meet you, they're picking up on those Libra qualities, which is still intellectual, but because it's ruled by Venus, you're just like the way you are. You want to create beauty. You want to create harmony. You want to create balance. I mean, hello, you're doing this Qigong. It makes perfect sense. But the lower expression of Libra is people pleasing, right? Suppressing your own needs and desires because you don't want to rock the boat and upset other people. So that's kind of the Libra spectrum of psycho-spiritual energy. But Aquarius is that rebel. It's like the rebel genius. But the lower expression of Aquarius can be being cold and detached. So, does any of that resonate for you?
When I was a lawyer, and I think even the choice of becoming a lawyer and corporate tax, really, that was very much a people pleaser thing. I think it was just enacting the smart girl, and
Hmm.
that was what was expected of me. So that was definitely there. But in a way, I feel that with having the cancer, I was like, life is for living. This is my life.
Yeah.
So I threw that overboard. So that's it definitely has gone, but I definitely recognize it from the past. And the coldness, I don't think so, but maybe because I have a lot of fire in me. Like I maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think people would consider me cold.
I mean, I don't get that from you at all, but I think the Aquarian energy is where you shine. And I think you shine as a visionary. You shine as somebody who is doing their own thing and you're not really caring about what people think about you.
And I think what resonates very much also is the rebel. Even in my work, I am so for pleasure equality, orgasm equality. It can piss me off so much, the entitlement of men
Yeah.
around sexuality. I find it extraordinary. And I see it on a daily basis in my practice with couples that I'm like, wow, I feel that for a lot of women, their sexuality is not actually theirs. It
Yeah.
really makes me very angry. And that is something really to fight for, I feel. And I feel in this current climate, that is so important to be vocal about that. I have a 15-year-old daughter. I want her to own her sexuality. I don't
Yeah.
want other people to own that,
Yeah.
or to feel that they're entitled to it or that she has to deliver because they want it. In a way, it raises some fury and rage in me. Like, really, I've noticed it, especially over the last year, that I'm like, wow, what is happening here is probably my Aquarius, It's quite bizarre, I feel, how women are really being pushed back instead of forward.
Well, your passion around this topic definitely comes through. I feel like that's also your Leo moon being like, I am going forward with this because I feel very deeply and very strongly about this, and I'm going to be loud about it. Like Leo is on the stage. Thank you for bringing that up. The idea of, I think you said, what, pleasure inequality and orgasmic inequality. Yeah, I mean, gosh, we could do a whole episode on this.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's like an epidemic.
Yes, I agree. And I find it mesmerizing that with most couples, they basically they come because there's something wrong with her because she doesn't
Mm,
feel like having sex. And the first session, I always say, listen, most women feel like having sex. They just don't feel like having the sex they're getting, which is an entirely
right,
different thing.
right.
I think sex is just not very pleasurable for a lot of women.
Yeah.
And that in itself is really sad, I think.
It is incredibly sad. And thank God you're doing this work. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this issue to the forefront because I mean, oh my God, we could totally go off about this, but you know Kim Anami, she talks about
Yeah.
the underfucked woman, how she's miserable, and being connected to your sexual energy, your sexual vitality, as you said, it's your life force. So many people misunderstand that your creative energy and your sexual energy are one and the same, right? So if you're cut off from your body and your sexuality, there's no way you're going to be able to create all the things that you're meant to create in this lifetime, because you're just bifurcated. You are just a floating head with no connection to the body. And I mean, and then now I'm jumping to the entitlement piece. Seriously, we're going to just have to do another podcast episode about this,
Yes.
because I think that that's a huge issue. And I've certainly had some rough experiences, in my dating life and my previous relationships around that kind of stuff. And, our mothers don't tell us. And thank God your daughter has you to give her some guidance, right? But my mom didn't give me any guidance around what to expect and what were my rights. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
obviously she didn't get any guidance around this.
This is it. And also, I think she thought it was really awkward to talk about it. Even though I think wouldn't it be more awkward not to talk about it with your child, and not
Right.
to educate them. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, Rosa, we're gonna have to have another conversation about this, because this is a very juicy topic, and I think it's really important to shed some light on this, because I think people are missing out. I mean, it's not only the women that are missing out, but their partners are missing out when
Of
their
course.
is alive, like really in her aliveness. My God, you're at the altar of the divine feminine. This woman is a portal to the divine feminine, right? It's
Yeah.
like people don't even know what they're missing.
Yeah. 100%. I'm not saying that this is serving men. I think for men, this model is not working either. I don't think the patriarchy is particularly good for men.
No,
Most
not
men
at
don't
all.
really want this either.
No.
I think it doesn't serve, it serves very few people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any system that forces you to dominate or use violence to keep the system running is not good for anybody. My goodness. Rosa, you're doing such important work in the world. Well, tell me now. So, what are you working on right now that you're excited about that you can share with us?
I am excited about the fact that I'm gonna make program for women around the Tao of pleasure. So very
Yes.
much the Taoist path to pleasure, because it has brought me so much. It has brought me so much healing. So this is in the making. It will be somewhere over the next months. I would love to do that. It took me a bit of time to really feel, because it's such a big field, but I'm like, yeah, this is my thing. Yeah, that's gonna be there. Other than that, I'm just doing my thing. I'm working. I have a very full practice.
Hmm.
I have been meaning to start a weekly Qigong class forever, but I promised myself now, after I'm going to go to Sri Lanka for a few weeks now in a week. But after I'm back, I'm going to start a weekly Qigong class, because so many people are asking for it, and it would be great. And it's so beautiful. And it's such a privilege also to be in the space with other people. It's as nourishing for me as it is for everybody else that's joining.
I love it. Well, will that be an in-person class or a virtual class?
It will be a virtual class because I'm in Amsterdam, so it will be
Okay.
very awkward to organize that. But yeah, I will do a virtual class. And I think for the energy, obviously, it doesn't matter. It's the
It
energy is there.
doesn't matter. Yeah,
No.
no, I can definitely testify to that. The energy is there. It's such a wonderful experience being in the spaces that you hold. Okay, awesome. Well, if folks want to find out more about you or how to work with you, where should they go?
Well, depends. If they're looking for Qigong, I'm gonna do it on Aliveness Amsterdam. And if they want to work with me as a coach, it's on rosakelly.com, and they can just send
Okay.
me a message and inquire. Obviously, Vita is a big part of it, but my shamanic work is a very big part of it as well. I do like
Okay.
soul retrievals as well, and stuff that's very shamanic. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so are you on social media at all? Like, are you on Instagram or
I
Facebook,
am
or
on
not really?
Instagram. Well, I am on it, but it's very minimal. I hardly ever post, to be honest. I started last year, but it felt very much like, if you're not really selling anything, or I was really like, why am I doing this? I don't need the
Right.
clients. I have the clients, and so,
Yeah.
but I will, at one point I will do it. But then it's the Rosa Kelly and Aliveness Amsterdam. both of those Instagram accounts, but both of them have very few followers because it's not my thing really. But I will at
Gotcha.
one point. Yeah.
Is it alivenessamsterdam.com? Is that where people should go,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just rosakelly.com?
It's either or. Both
Either
of
or.
them are. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. My goodness, Rosa, this has been a fantastic conversation. I definitely want to do this again. And before we wrap, I have one last question to ask you that I ask all of my guests. So, what are the cycles that you are starting in your lineages?
Oh, sexual liberation,
Love it.
self-love.
Hmm.
I even think just living the feminine, really daring to live that other side, not just the hard, but also the soft, the gentle, that's the cycle I'm starting for sure. And I see it already in my daughter. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh my, she is so lucky to have you as a mom. I'm just so happy for all of you guys. All right. Well, Rosa, again, thank you so much. I am so grateful that you and I have connected, and I'm definitely 100% serious about us continuing to collaborate with each other. It has been such a joy to have you on the show today. It was such a joy to participate in your workshop. And yeah, this has been fabulous.
Thank you. That's so great. Thank you so much.
All right, no problem. That's it for this episode of the Cycle Starters podcast. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye, everyone. Bye, Rosa.